Alright, so today we're doing some revision questions, just in some areas that were requested from you from yesterday. So we're looking at how to solve equations by hand, simultaneous equations by hand, and a couple of application questions. So for this first one, feel free to obviously skip ahead in this video if you're comfortable or confident with these. So at the moment we've got x plus 1 over 3 equals 2, and we want to find out what x equals. So we have to get rid of the numbers or everything surrounding that x to get it by itself on that side of the equals. So it's dividing by 3 here, so we want to times 3. We have to do the inverse operation of divide, and whatever you do on one side you have to do to the other. Okay, the reason we do this is so that that cancels out, so we're left with x plus 1, which equals 2 times 3, which is 6. So we've still got a plus 1 next to our x, so we want to get rid of that. So we need to do the opposite of plus 1, so it's minus 1. And whatever we do to one side, you have to do to the other. So you should have x equals 5. Okay, if you want to double check to see if that's correct, you can always sub this into the original equation. So you would have 5 plus 1 over 3 equals 2, which means 5 plus 1 is 6 divided by 3. So 6 over 3 is 2, so that's right. So we know we did it right by hand. Okay, number 2, you'll see in the red here, I typed the signs wrong, which changes the equation quite a lot. So it is plus 4 and it's minus 11. So with this one, you've got the variables on both sides of the equation, those x's. So you need to collect your like terms, which means every term with an x in it, you can add or subtract those. And then all the numbers, you can add or subtract those by themselves. Okay. So firstly with this one, you want to expand your brackets. So that means it's 3 times everything inside here. So 3 times x and 3 times 5. So you have 3x plus 15. And then you can write the rest out. So plus 4 equals x minus 11. All right, we can simplify this first bit because 15 plus 4, we can do that. Okay, and 15 plus 4 is 19. All right. So the next thing you want to do is get your x's on the same side. Okay, because I've got an x on one side, 3x on the other side. If we subtract the x from this side, that'll cancel out. But that means we have to do the same on the other side. Okay, so that goes away. 3x minus x is 2x plus 19 equals negative 11. All right, we need to get rid of this 19. So it's adding 19, so we need to subtract 19. So you're going to have 2x equals negative 11 minus 19 is negative 30. Still got that 2 next to the x, and at the moment it's 2 times x. So that means we need to divide by 2 on both sides. So you should get x equals negative 30 divided by 2 is negative 15. Okay, and again, you can sub this back into the original equation to double check. But yeah, that one should be right. Okay, question 3, we're looking at simultaneous equations. The first thing here, also obviously it doesn't say, but we need to solve these equations algebraically. So we can't graph them and do it the easy way. So to figure out whether we use the substitution method or the elimination method, you need to see if any of the coefficients are the same. Okay. Sorry, that's for the elimination. So for number 3 here, we don't use substitution because we don't have any of them with y equals something. Okay, the x and the y are on the same sides. So for this number 3, we're going to be using elimination method. All right, so we need to eliminate either x or y by adding or subtracting the equations together. So I'm going to label these 1 and 2. Okay. At the moment, if I was to add or subtract either of them, I'm not going to get rid of one of the variables. Okay, because if you look at like 3x, and if we were to add the second equation, So 3x plus x, that's 4x. We haven't got rid of it. And the 5y plus negative 2y is 3y. We don't get rid of it. So we have to multiply one of them, or both of them. Okay. In this case, we're going to have to, let's say we want to get rid of the x. Okay. What I can see here is that's 3x and this is 1x. So if I was to times this whole equation by 3, then I'd get a 3x there. And obviously I have to do the rest. But then that means they're the same, so it will work. So just getting rid of that. So what we want to do is do our second equation and times it by 3. Okay, so that gives us, we're multiplying our second equation by 3. So 3x minus 6y equals negative 3. Okay, so we can call this our third equation. So now to do our elimination method, we'll take our first equation and we can subtract our third equation. Okay, so I might color code it. So we're using this equation, number 1 and number 3, and we subtract each term from each other. So we're going to go 3x minus 3x is obviously 0. 5y minus negative 6y is 11y. And 8 minus negative 3 is 11. Okay, solving for y, we need to divide both sides by 11. So y equals 1. Okay, so we know what y equals here. We need to substitute that 1 back into one of the equations to find x. So let's sub y equals 1 into, we'll go the second equation because just to me that looks a bit easier. So you're going to have x minus 2y, and y is 1, equals negative 1. Obviously 2 times 1 is just 2, so you've got x minus 2 equals negative 1. Alright, if we plus 2 to both sides, that'll get rid of that. So x equals negative 1 plus 2 is 1. So therefore, our solution is 1, 1. Okay. You can either write it like that, or you can just, do your x equals 1 and y equals 1. Alright, this number 4, again, simultaneous equations, but we're going to be using the substitution method because we have one of our equations here has y on its own. So what this says is y equals 6 minus x. So we're going to substitute that into our other equation where y is. Okay, we sub those. So we write our new equation, which is 2x plus, instead of the y, we've got 6 minus x equals 8. Okay, so let's collect our like terms because we've got a 2x and a minus x. So 2x minus x is just x. Get rid of that 6 by subtracting both sides. So x equals 2. Okay. X equals 2, so that means to find y, we can substitute that into, it doesn't matter which equation, but let's go the first one. So we've got y equals 6 minus 2. That means y must equal 4. So therefore our solution is at 2, 4. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit. We'll do a couple more worded questions here. So, Mark buys 3 roses and 2 gardenias for $15.50. Peter buys 5 roses and 3 gardenias for $24.50. How much did each type of flower cost? Okay, so we've got 3 roses and 2 gardenias equal $15.50. Okay. Then our next one, Peter buys 5 roses and 3 gardenias, and that equals 2450. Okay, so the hardest part, I guess, about these is coming up with your equations from the worded thing, and then you can just use your skills like we did in the last slide to solve your simultaneous equations. For this one, we can't use substitution method because we don't have any of the variables by itself, so we're going to have to use elimination method. With this one, we don't have any of the variables the same, and to try to make them the same, what we could do is probably looking at the g's. 2 and 3, think of their lowest common factor, so what they both fit into would be 6. So if we can make both of these 6g to make 2g into 6g, you'd have to times that by 3, and you'd have to times this one by 2, because then that would make them both 6g. But we have to do it to the whole equation. So we're going to times both of these by 3 and write them over here. Oops, sorry. We're going to times this one by 2. Okay. So let's write our new equations. So we're multiplying this one by 3. So 3 times 3r plus 6g equals, I should have got my calculator ready, what's that, 30, 45, 46, 50. Okay, and we're going to multiply this one all by 2. So 5r, that's 10r. 3g times 2 is 6g. And 2450 times 2 is $49. Okay, so now that we've done that, this is equation 1, this is equation 2. We can subtract one from the other because that would get rid of the g. So we'll go 1 minus 2. So 9r minus 10r is negative r. 6g minus 6g is 0. And 4650 minus 49 equals negative, what would that be? So they're both negative, so we can equals $2.50. So roses are $2.50 each. We want to find out how much do the gardenias cost. So we can substitute r equals $2.50 back into another equation. Okay, doesn't really matter which one. We might substitute it back over here to find out the gardenias. So instead of the r, we put $2.50. So 3 times $2.50 plus 2g equals $15.50. So I'm going to run out of room. 3 times $2.50 is $7.50 plus 2g equals $15.50. And okay, we're going to keep on solving that. I'll have to go up here, sorry. Okay, so $7.50, I'm going to subtract that from that side and the other side. So we have 2g left on that side equals $15.50 minus $7.50 would be 8. Okay, divide both sides by 2. So g equals 4. So remember, with these worded problems, you need to write, therefore, roses cost $2.50 each, and gardenias cost $4 each. Alrighty. And last one, we have another application, and this one might be a bit trickier, but it's all about setting up all your appropriate equations, and then you can go from there. So 3 classes, A, B and C, in a school are such that class A has 2/3 the number of students that class B has, and class C has 5/6 of the number of students in class B. If the total number of pupils in the 3 classes is 105, how many are there in each class? So my first thing I see here is that we have 3 classes, A, B, and C, and they all add up to 105. That's what I got from that straight away, because all of that other info was a little bit tricky. Now I'm going to read it a bit slower. So Class A has 2/3 the number of students that Class B has. So Class A has 2/3 of B. Okay, so I've come up with that equation. Class C has 5/6 of the people in B. So C has 5/6 of the people in B. Okay, so I've now used all the information from it, so now I need to look at that and think, how am I going to solve it? Well, I know what A and C equal, so I can substitute those into that first equation. So A, instead of A, I'm going to write 2/3B plus B plus C equals 5/6 B. And that equals 105. So what I can do is add up all of these B's. So how many B's do I have? You can use a calculator. I haven't got one ready. But what I can do is I can add it up by hand. So 2/3, I'm going to make them all have a denominator of 6. So this one will turn into 4/6B plus 6/6, because that equals 1, and 5/6. Please just do this by calculator. It'll waste you time in an exam or test. Now, using my fractions, I can add all my top numbers. So that's 15/6B equals 105. Okay, so I can get rid of this 15/6 by dividing by 15/6 so that it'll cancel out, but that means I need to do 105 15/6. Therefore, B equals, let me get a calculator, it's not as easy. I'm going to leave it there. You'll get a number. I should have done this beforehand. Okay, so you'll find out what B equals, which is great. Then to find out what A and C equals, you will substitute that number back here. Okay, so that you can find out how many kids are in each 3 of the classes, and it should add up to 105. So let me know if you have any questions, and good luck.